All right, my loves, all right, my loves. Day five. Day five, can you believe it? We have spent 5 days together and we are going to wrap it up. We are not done. We are just at the beginning. Okay. All that we've done so far is to get you to start, support you to start and go. We are not at the end. We have at the beginning. All right. So take a deep breath with me on that one. You have shown up for yourself. You have shown up for your story. You have participated. You have asked questions. You have learned. You have grown. You have gotten a little excited. You've gotten some clarity. And you have begun to see what is possible. Okay? That, my love, that is what I wanted for you. That is what unleashing your story is all about. And of course, you are Elizabeth. You are my hashtag alive rockstar, complete badass. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Thank you for showing up for your story. And as I was just saying, is we have arrived at the beginning. Okay, everything up until this moment has been preparation for you to start. Okay, unleashing your story is about accelerating and moving forward and really amplifying who you are, and then plan it like we talked about. Before I dive into all the parts, though, I want to start with a question. I want you to think of it's writing a play and performing a solo show. Whatever the thing is that you can do now, even if it's like, ooh, yeah, it's a stretch, but yeah, I can do that. I want you to think of something that you can do now that used to scare the pants off of you. Okay? Maybe it's rock climbing, like a rock face. I don't know what the thing is. You know what the thing is. And when you pause and you think, oh, maybe we have a bad connection. Let's see what we can do. When you pause and you think of what you are capable of, and that you weren't always capable of this, that you were growing. I'm messaging Elizabeth to see if it's better. Um, when you pause, recognize that in this moment, all that you have learned and grown and overcome, and what used to be impossible for you, it can still be a stretch. You can still rise to the occasion, but you can do it. That, my love, that is just this place, okay? If writing your story, writing a book and publishing a book feels really big, feels bigger than you right now, that is okay. But I want you to remember that you already, right now, are all of those things that you've already accomplished. Yeah? Okay, so connection's better. That's good. But if you can think of something, share one thing that you can do, roast a turkey, or I don't know, do mathematical equations that are super impressive. I don't know, and I don't care in that, like, it's not a competition, but I care that what can you do now that used to be impossible for you? Okay? Reading out loud, whatever it is, walking on a balance beam, cartwheels, don't care. Okay? What's the thing? Driving a car. Okay? Driving a car. Yeah. Yes. So cool. Okay, Elizabeth, thank you for sharing that. You drive a car. It was a big thing. It was a scary thing when you started. You had to really be thinking about all the moving pieces, and you were nervous and you were awkward. Okay. You might have even had an accident. I definitely have. Um, but after you do it more and more, it becomes totally second nature. You hop in the car, put it into gear, and you're gone and you're doing that and other things. I love that example. Great example. Thank you, Elizabeth. So at every stage, anytime you're learning something new and like looking, you're like that over there, that's where I'm headed. I want you to remember the thing that you used to not be able to do, but you can do now. Okay? Because that's really going to help. Today is day 5. I have 2 stories for you, and then we're going to sort of recap and then go into the bulk of the day. All right? So today is sort of an auspicious day, and I would have planned it differently if I could have. But today, I hit the button to publish Red Thread's first book. Our first author, Sarah Gretzinger, is releasing her first book on Tuesday, and all the background stuff and all the research and all the positioning, all of that stuff has to be done and loaded and hit the button 72 hours before the book comes out. And so today is that day. Okay. And I want to tell you a little bit about Sarah's story because we talked a lot about your mental map of like how you believe things happen and how long and how hard you think things are going to be. So Sarah came to me and she said 2 months ago, what's today? Almost May 1st. 2 months ago, it's like March 3rd, she came to me and she said, Sierra, I have a series of books that I want to publish. Will you help me? And I was just in the dreaming stage and building of Red Thread Publishing. I said, yeah, I got you. So she had 2 books already sort of scripted out and 2 books halfway there. So we took one, we ran with it, we got a cover, we got it edited, we got it set up to be pre-ordered on Amazon. It's available now. And we did all the background stuff so that she can now have a book to serve her clients better, to share what she teaches her high ticket clients at a price that anybody can afford. Her book right now is 99 cents. Okay. And everybody writes a book for a different reason. But she wrote a book to serve more clients, serve more people, okay? So that she can serve 50,000 people because she's got a book, okay? She can change the money mindset, revolutionize female entrepreneurship and coaching for women with her books, okay? So she came to me. We have a 2-month turnaround. We've got book after book after book coming out through a process that's just going to get 4 books in a series out this year, okay? So that's one story. And I just want to celebrate her for taking her ideas, putting them into word form, and then getting them out and letting me help her get them out to as many people as possible. After this, we'll maybe try to keep tonight short because I'm going to crack a bottle of champagne and it is amazing, right? It's totally, totally amazing. And I have a glass of champagne. I'm going to pour myself a mimosa at 6:30 tonight. And I'm just going to enjoy how far we've come in such a short amount of time because that is the name of this game. We can go so much further than we thought possible in such a quick time when we're doing it right. Again, your exact recipe for right is yours, but I do have a pretty clear system of how, certainly on the publishing end, how to get a book from concept to hit the yellow button is like publish, done. So I want you to think, right? We started this closing our eyes, thinking about our why, remembering who we want to reach. So we're going to do this macro micro thing again. All right, you're going to connect with yourself, connect with your body. Why are you here? Why have you shown up for this many nights of this training? What are you trying to create in the world for you? What is going to change for you? And then begin to reach out on what's changing in the world. Connect those red threads to all those souls that you'll maybe never meet. Maybe you will at your book signings and you're this and you're that. But all the souls that are going to read your words and have some sort of experience, some sort of transformation. Okay? We're going to really connect to that again. Okay? I want you to put yourself, project yourself into Sarah's shoes. We've hit the button and your book is coming out. Okay? Your book is coming out. How do you feel tonight? We've hit the button, we're waiting, we're ready. Your book is hitting the presses and people are lining up to buy it. They can't wait to read it. They're excited about what you have to share. They're hungry. They're hungry for what you have created for them. How do you feel? I'm going to tell you my truth. The night before my book came out, I felt horrible. Like, little bit of truth here. We want to feel amazing. We think we're going to feel amazing, and you're going to feel amazing. You are also going to feel nauseous, naked, in front of the whole world. You are going to feel raw and all of these things, which I'm telling you now, so that when you get there, you're like, oh yeah, this is what's unexpected. Even though Sierra told me before I even started, I'm supposed to feel this way. And so I did this twice last year, and this the second time again, like we do, the more we do it, the more familiar it gets. It doesn't change it necessarily. You don't feel less like you're going to vomit. You're just like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. This is right where I needed to be. So we connected with our why, right? This is what we've done all week. We've connected with our why. We have really created a method for recognizing and relating to our obstacles, whether they are blocks or structural things or fears or doubts. Whatever the obstacle is, we know what to do with it. My dog is eating something out of the trash, and so I throw her a treat, and then she knocks the trash over right on schedule. Good job, Rosie. This will be fun. So we connected with our why. We now know how to navigate your obstacles because there will be more. My love, there will be more. There will. That just is it. My Integral Women and Red Thread Publishing, Integral Women, our ultimate goal is to have women know that they can navigate any of the obstacles that naturally arrive in life, because they do naturally arrive for no fault of anyone's, and yet we can totally navigate them. And so that's the goal. Know that you can navigate all of your obstacles. In day 3 and 4, we really started to look at what are some elements, what are some ingredients we can mix together in our own particular way to really create a system, a supportive system, to work with our energetic fluxes, to create space for, sometimes I'm really into it and sometimes I need a break and some distance, and whatever your system and your pattern and your structure and rhythm looks like, how do we create that safe container? We talked about contained exposure, filling your well, resting and inspiration, priming the pump, accelerating and amplifying your personal growth and your message. We talked about the morning pages and the power of that. And I just want to tell you tonight, this is what tonight's about. Sarah, her story, she came to me with a manuscript. She wrote that first manuscript. The dogs are eating the trash, but I'm just going to let them do that. I think that's what's going to happen. She wrote her first manuscript in a weekend, okay? They're short books. It's stuff that she taught all the time, so she knew the content inside and out, and it's basically a course that she teaches her high-ticket clients. And so she had the structure, she had the experience, and it poured out of her, okay? This is what we are going for. I'm going to tell you my own story. So both of these books, How Change Really Happens and Date Yourself, each have sort of an origin story, so to speak. I published this one second, but I wrote it first. And since this mini course is really more about the writing than the publishing, maybe I'll do a little story about how I wrote and published How Change Really Happens in 3 months last year. I decided, January 2nd, I'm just going to write and publish a book because I need to learn how to do this. And that's all I did for 3 months. But I'll tell you more about that later, because Date Yourself was written already, actually. I wrote this, and this is what I want to tell you, the story of how this book came to be. It's the result of following this system that I teach that uses charting our own moon energy or menstrual cycle, one or the other or both, but really dropping down into a system, relying on your masculine and feminine energy so that you can rest when you need to rest, so that you can plan when you need to plan, so you can write your ass off when you need to write your ass off, and then have something to work with, right? We want to unleash your story so that you have a draft that you can wrestle with, so that you can polish it, so that you can publish it and share it with the world. But you can't wrestle. Well, actually, no. I was going to say you can't wrestle an idea, but this is the problem. When it's still in here and it's still in here, you are wrestling it. All the women I'm talking to are wrestling their story, but they're wrestling it inside. And this is really ineffectual wrestling. Okay. You can't polish it before it's out. Okay. You have to dig up this raw gem and sort through the dirt, find the gem, and then polish it. But if you're polishing a pile of dirt, what? And that's what it is when there's something in here, but you haven't extracted it properly, then all of your efforts, you're putting in effort, but it's not giving you the result that you need. And so through this process that I practice and I teach, and I'm going to be sharing it next month, the writing part of this book, I spent 4 days. It was a long weekend. I'm always and have always been a single mom. And so my daughter was 4, I believe, maybe just 3.5. Oh no, she had just, oh gosh, let me think. I think she just turned, oh gosh, I don't know. Anyway, she was still really, really young. And I remember this. Ugh. I remember this. Rosie, shush. Come here. Shush. I remember this because most of the time I was writing this book was the middle of the night over 4 days. It was like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It was a holiday in Colombia. And she was asleep on me most of the time I was writing this book. And this is a decent sized book, and it poured out of me in 4 days because I had spent the new moon resting. I had spent the waxing moon planning, like, what the hell is this book about actually? What are all the different parts of it? What are the pieces that I want to say? How should I best organize them? And then I had this whole skeleton, right? And I consider that part of the writing process, but it's not the writing of the writing process. It's all this other stuff that we've talked about. It's what the result of your system is going to support this energetic space for you to be fully rested and totally chill, for there to be space for inspiration to arrive, for your masculine energy to say, like, okay, let's get serious. Let's map this out. Let's make a plan, outline it, put those folders on your Google Drive, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, blah, blah, blah. Outline those chapters, whatever it looks like. Even if it's poetry, even if it's prose, even if it's something much more fluid or a memoir. Granted, like, this has a very like a clear structure because it's more of a teaching and a step-by-step process. But any creative process can have, like, if you were doing a painting, you'd do some underpainting, right? You're like, these are where the things are, and this is how I want it to be. Okay, so your creative process goes in waves. You need the blank canvas, which is your resting. You need the underpainting. And I'm using painting Elizabeth as an example because I know you rock the paintbrush. You do the underpainting, which is your outlining. What's the structure? What am I going to fill in with more intimate color and detail later? And then when you're ready, you are rested, you have a cool outline, and then you've scheduled some energy and like an energetic space, then you just write. And you write and you write and you write until you don't want to write anymore. And then the last phase of the process that I teach is you have this sort of newborn, not yet creature. It's just this pile of potential. That's when we revise it. Okay. Oh my gosh, this dog. Shush. Do you know that I'm teaching right now? I'm teaching right now. Shh. I know there's things happening in the world, but shush. Then you revise, okay? Because the first objective, everything that we've been talking about here, is just to get your first shitty draft out of your mind, out of your heart, off your heart, onto the page, so that you can wrestle it, so that you can polish it, so that you're like, when I write, I think it makes sense when I'm writing it, and then I read it and I read it and I revise it and I change it and I change it and I change it a dozen times. And then always when it's just about right, I find like the essential piece that I need down here at the very end. I'm like, oh, this needs to go up here, and fundamentally change the whole thing. And then like, oh, now it's done. That is the thing that I've noticed over and over and over again. Whether I'm writing a chapter for a multi-author book, or multiple chapters in my own books, or just an article, or really anything, that's my process. It's like get something raw and wiggling out, revise, 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 and then it's like, okay, it works. So that's the story of this. But I want to tell you another thing that really occurred to me. And I think I had it in the back of my head, but last night it totally clicked. Okay. You don't have to write a book the way you think you have to write a book. Okay. I have been with you here, sharing these ideas, teaching all this cool stuff, supporting you. But there's all these women who haven't been able to attend this. Okay. I've had more conversations with people saying, oh my God, I wish I could make it, but this week has just been a crazy week. Maybe next time. Okay. Guess what? I can take the 5 videos from this week's training. I can take the workbook because it's already made. I can transcribe those videos, or quite honestly, I'm going to pay someone to transcribe those videos. And then I'm going to edit those videos, that transcription, and then I'm going to format it and I can publish it. Okay, my love? Do you get that it doesn't have to be the way that you think it is? There are so many different ways to get your story out. If you want to have your idea, outline it, and then invite your friends over, socially distancing if that's your thing, or just have a video date with a friend and talk them through everything that you want to say, transcribe that, you've got half of your book. Okay. A couple of my favorite authors, I need to go back and confirm who first said this. I don't know if it's Liz Gilbert or Brene Brown, or both. They invite them on a weekend getaway. Okay. They pay for everything and they're like, here's what I'm trying to say. And they go back and forth, and the author will say, here's what I'm thinking. And then everyone goes separately and writes down all their thoughts, and then they bring them back together and create differently. There's so many ways to write a book. Okay. One of the guys that I follow is much more into the packaging of content, like this idea of recording, like outlining what you want to share, especially if it's something like more teaching and support rather than like a memoir. But you can totally record a whole video series. Then it's like it's already an online class. And what I was thinking about is like, I want to share this so that so many more women can unleash their story, right? I've shared it in video form, and I love these Facebook Lives. I love interacting with the community, and this is sort of my glory space because I was a classroom teacher for so long that I can just come and do this, and it's pretty easeful for me. If I were to sit down with my same intention of like, let's write this book about unleashing your story, I would definitely have some struggles and some resistance and more blocks. Okay. But I know how to outline, I've got my notebook of like all the days. These are the things that I want to talk about. It's there, it's my process. And then I'm here and I can share it this way really easily. Then there's some like technical stuff that can happen afterwards. There's programs you can download, and I'm not going to get into the technical of like how you could do that, but it does not have to be sit down and type. Okay. Half of the books that I've written, I actually do voice. I talk to my Google Drive because Google Docs can do voice to text right away, and speaking is much more natural for me. And then I go back and I edit out the ums and the so's that are really frequent in my manner of speech. So it's not just we build the structure, we clear the blocks, just wanted to crack open your ideas of how this actually happens, because it doesn't have to happen one set way, okay? It could take me a lot longer. It does take me a lot longer to do it sort of the traditional way if I'm thinking, this dog really wants some attention. If I'm going to sit down and hold myself to antiquated patterns of how to sit down and write a book, and you have to like start with chapter one, you don't have to start with chapter one. You don't have to even use a computer. A novelist friend of mine, she writes young adult fiction, does amazing with just a notebook. She just writes and puts all the pieces together later. She writes it as it flows. It is unbelievable. There is a massive dog that wants to sit on my lap. So whatever story you think, I mean, I want you to figure out, how do I think I'm supposed to write this book? Because then I want you to untangle that and see, does that really work for me? Or might there be another way that works so much better? Could you write a book this weekend? Yeah, you absolutely could write a book this weekend. Sit with that for a second. You could write a book this weekend. Okay? There's a new thing on Amazon called the Kindle Vella, which is all about these like short episodes and releasing things bit by bit. It is super cool, and it's little nuggets of stuff. Could you write 12 little nuggets and release them in that format? Absolutely. The things that you can do are infinite. I'm not going to use this context and this training to get into the how. That stuff's coming later in future trainings. It's going to be part of my writer's course that runs all of next month. But it also is going to be, I'm going to be supporting women through the publishing process, through teaching self-publishing as well as offering publishing myself. I want you to get your story out in the world, and however I can support you to do that, that is what I'm here for. And in the last 2 months, I've gone from doing all of this all by myself. Okay, I wrote and published both of those books all by myself, which it's possible. It's totally possible. I'm not sure I entirely recommend it. That was not the accelerated version. Even though I did them pretty quickly, it was not the accelerated version. It was a lot of growth, but it wasn't as efficient as it could have been. But I learned my lesson. So 2 things. One, you know that I'm offering a 30-day write your book, this whole process in depth, really using the moon. If you menstruate, you can like use the same pattern on your cycle, or you can use just the moon. What are all the different phases? How do we maximize them? And so that a month from today, imagine you had a draft that was ready for an actual editor, revised, that you'd done your best version 30 days from today. How would it feel of what's in here on a file on your computer? What would that feel like? So that's what the 30-day course is. It's this natural creative process. How do we tap into that cycle? And then you can use it over and over again. You could write a book a month if you want to, if that's your thing, or if you want to spend a little bit more time and marinate in it, that's also perfectly fine. I'm not trying to turn anyone into a machine. Quite the opposite, actually. I am trying to turn you into a changing, creational person. So let's see. Any last notes? Yeah. The goal is a shitty first draft. Just get there, okay? So here's my commitment to everyone who signed up, even if they haven't been able to watch yet and you're watching it later. But definitely, Elizabeth, I'm talking to you, baby girl. If you want support with talking about your book, talking about publishing options, talking about ideas about what path is right for you, I am not going to try to sell you. I'm not going to try to force you to be a client. I want to support you to get your book out. And so anyone who wants a session with me, let's book a call. Okay, let's talk about what you're working on, what stage you're in, what's the next steps, where you need support, where you've got it on your own, and what are the options for you moving forward. So I'm going to make sure to drop a booking link in the comments after I get off. But it is 6:30, and I promised that these would be 30-minute sessions. And there's a mimosa waiting for me because we have published our first book. So, Elizabeth, I see you here. I know you're still here. Do you have any questions before I sign off? And if you think of things later, we will definitely talk about anything you want on our 30, 40-minute call. An amazing amount of things can shake loose in a 40-minute session with me. So those are usually things that I charge for, but you've shown up for yourself, and I want to honor that and get you to the next level. So any questions before I sign off? I'm going to let you message me if you have them. I'm going to go fill my well, so to speak, and fill my belly. Sending you so much love. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I'm always here to support your transformation, your empowerment, your accelerated growth so that you can amplify your impact in the world. Because, baby, the world needs your voice. The world needs your love. It needs your insight. We are all hungry for a new narrative and a different way to live life. And so every one of us contributing to that changing story can really have a lot more impact than maybe even we're ready to admit to ourselves. Thank you for showing up. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. I don't really want to sign off. I just want to keep on going forever and ever. But yes, Elizabeth. Okay, I'm seeing your message. It's coming in soon. I know I never want to end these, but I'm going to. I'll be back again sharing amazing tools and tips and strategies about publishing and writing and empowerment forever and ever. Not to worry. I'll see you again soon. Sending love. Bye.